Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Earthbound Immortal Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post-Duelist Pack Immortal Destiny. With the release of the new support from the Immortal Destiny booster pack, I found an update was due for the deck profile. It's a really awesome deck. The whole point of the new support for the Earthbound Immortals is to use the Inca support we received that focuses on summoning out Moon Dragon Kila and Sun Dragon Inti, along with the new Earthbound Geoglyph field spell and Earthbound Linewalker to set up your play so you can easily attack directly with one of your Earthbound Immortals and hit for game with the setup that you've done against your opponent, and also protect your Earthbound Immortal at the same time while also protecting the field spell that you need to keep your Earthbound Immortal on the field. It's a really fun deck. I'm really happy with the results. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, for the Earthbound Immortals, I run two Earthbound Immortal Kokopakapu. Just one of my preferred Earthbound Immortals for the fact that it's got 3,000 attack, and also it has the ability when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it inflicts damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. Plus, if you don't have a field spell on the field, destroy this card, and your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks, and this card can attack directly. So basically, if you set up with Earthbound Linewalker on the field, you can hit for the exact damage you need to defeat your opponent with Kokopakapu alone. I run the two of this card. It is searchable in the deck, but just to have some consistency with the numbers, and you can also recycle it from the graveyard back into your hand. But I still like to run the two just in case, obviously something happens to it in the graveyard. So you have one more option to go for with this card. And I also run one Earthbound Immortal Uru, just my two preferred Earthbound Immortals to run in the deck for the fact that they're both 3,000 attack points, so they meet the requirements for when you summon out your Earthbound Greater Linewalker, putting your opponent's life points at 3,000, and then you can have the option to obviously summon one of these out and attack for the exact game number. You can always try and mix and match some of the other Earthbound Immortals. I just really like Kokopakapu for its burn damage to your opponent, and Uru being able to take control of your opponent's monsters by attributing your own. So you have just those options. Those are my personal preferences. You can always use any of the other Earthbound Immortals to fill in these spots. I just keep the number to around these many for the Earthbound Immortals, just so you can keep consistency with some of the other cards we run in the deck as well. Some of those cards being the Inca support. Like I said, I run three of the new Ascator Dawnwalker. You can discard one card to special summon this card from your hand in defense position. Then you can special summon one Fire Ant Ascator from your hand or deck. You cannot special summon monsters from the extract the turn you activate this effect, except for synchro monsters, and you can only use this effect of Ascator Dawnwalker once per turn. But what's great about this card is you can either go, obviously, with when you set up your Fire Ant, you have the level 8 synchro play to go into Sun Dragon Inti, but it doesn't mean you're limited to other synchro plays. You can obviously go for any other one that the deck may allow you to get out. So, and it doesn't even take up your normal summon, just an easy special summon of two monsters. Yes, it does limit your extra deck, so you can't summon out Link monsters, but the synchro options are, whatever you would choose for your extra deck for the level 8 option, or if you go for the Supay Duskwalker, you have the option for level 6. So very, very useful, and why I like to run three of this card in the deck. And the same also goes for Supay Duskwalker. You can discard one card to special summon this card from your hand in defense position. Then you can special summon one Supay from your hand or deck. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect, except for synchro monsters. You can only use this effect of Supay Duskwalker once per turn. So it's the exact same effect as Ascator Dawnwalker, aside from the fact that this one summons Supay and not Fire Ant Ascator. So you have the level 6 synchro option, which I filled up the extra deck with, level 8 and 6 synchro, since those are the majority of the synchro plays you'll go for with the deck. But I like maxing all of these cards out because then you can just discard one card. It doesn't specify what card you need to discard also for the play, so you have that option available to you. Just if you have like abundance of cards in your hand, doubles of some, you can easily discard them for the cost for both of these cards in the deck. And I also run three of the new Earthbound Greater Linewalker. If you control a synchro monster and you have a synchro monster in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can add one Earthbound Immortal monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And if an Earthbound Immortal monster is normal summon while this card is on the field, you can make your opponent's life points 3,000. And you can only use each effect of Earthbound Greater Linewalker once per turn. Now, this is what I said is your setup for the deck being able to make your opponent's life points 3,000. Makes it perfect perfect for either your Earthbound Immortal Uru or your Kokopakapu to attack your opponent directly. And then also having the Sun Dragon Entry or the Moon Dragon Keela in the graveyard and on the field, which they can counteract both of each other with their own effects. So you always have one on the field and one in the graveyard for that setup to summon out your greater Linewalker. And then the search is just that much more easier with this card. And then for the tuners, I also run 3 Supay. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon 1 Oracle of the Sun from your deck. And if you do, double its attack. Also return it to the hand during the end phase of this turn. So if you don't have the Dusk or Dawnwalker in your hand, you can use Supay and Oracle of the Sun, or Fire Ant and Oracle of the Sun for the same premise of synchro summoning. Just having Supay as this option for the summoning of Oracle of the Sun from your deck is another big help for sure. Working with the graveyard, we use Fire Ant Ascator, which I also run 3 of. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 level 5 monster in your graveyard and special summon that target, but its effects are negated. Also send it to the graveyard during the end phase of this turn. So you have the option for the graveyard with Fire Ant Ascator and Oracle of the Sun being the level 5 monster you'll go for with this play. It's just a good backup option if you obviously have the Dusk or Dawnwalker in your hand. These cards are just easy discard fodder for the extra numbers I run. It's why I like to run the 3, just so you have the consistency to always have an option to summon them out onto the field and to max out the numbers, since it has to be from hand or deck for the special summon. And I also run 3 Oracle of the Sun. If your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, if only your opponent controls it. And when this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Fire Ant, Ascator, or Supay from your deck to your hand. So you just have more search options with this card, but also an easy special summon. And then if you have either the Fire Ant or Supay in your hand, you can summon them out to the field, and then there's your synchro play to go for right then and there. So very, very useful for those plays also. And that is it for the monsters. I wanted to stick to a pure, Earthbound Inca lineup. They both work really well together with all the other support, including the spells and traps that we run in the deck, which we'll get to right now. Our main field spell in the deck being Earthbound Geoglyph. With this one, while any level 10 monster are on the field, this card cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. You can treat 1 synchro monster as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of an Earthbound Immortal monster. If a synchro monster is special summoned except during the damage step, you can add 1 Earthbound Immortal spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can use this effect of Earthbound Geoglyph once per turn. So you have the search options for your Earthbound spell or traps, and you also have the 2 tributes taken care of, because you'll have either Sun Dragon Inti or Moon Dragon Keela on the field as well. And then once you summon out your Linewalker to the field, you'll search out the Earthbound Immortal and then obviously be able to summon it out, since this is the special summon, and you won't have any of your summons or your normal summon be taken up when you use Duskwalker or your Dawnwalker for those special summon plays also. And then just for a little added backup support for the field spells, I run 1 Mound the Bound Creator, just so you have different field spell options. It also lets me run the 1 set rotation, so I can set the Mound the Bound Creator on my opponent's field and then search out the Geoglyph for myself to use. And also I run the 1 Terraforming, just to search out our field spell much faster as well. I definitely do like the set rotation setup as well. It's just another search option available to you. If you don't have Mound the Bound Creator, you can try Mausoleum of the Emperor as well, since it does help to tribute out the Earthbound Immortals much faster as well for your plays. And then I also run 2 Fire of Doomsdays. You special summon 2 Doomsday tokens onto the field in defense. These tokens cannot be tributed for a tribute summon unless it is for a dark monster. And you cannot summon other monsters the turn you activate this effect, but you can normal set. So obviously in the end phase of your opponent's turn, you'll get those 2 tokens. Just makes it easier to summon out your Earthbound Immortals to the field, giving you the 2 tokens for that summon. I like to run 2 just for that spot to fill in case you need to rely on other methods to summon out the cards onto the field. And I also run 1 Earthbound Immortal Revival. This is just a good way to recycle the field spell and your Earthbound Immortal from your graveyard to your hand by discarding a card, especially if you have to discard them to use Duskwalker or Dawnwalker on the field for their own plays. I only run the 1 though, since it is searchable by the field spell also. And I also run the 1-1-for-1. This is so I can summon Supay out to the field just to get more resources readily available on the field to use. Also 1 Monster Reborn and 1 Foolish Burial. More graveyard setup with some of the other cards. If I have like Fire Ant Ascator, and then I can set up Oracle of the Sun in the graveyard to use Monster Reborn. Just another way to special summon resources onto the field also. And you really do need your special summons for Duskwalker and Dawnwalker to resolve, so I run the 3 Call by the Grave just to stop your opponent's hand traps from shutting you down and your own plays as well. And then I also, now moving on to the traps, I run 2 Call of the Earthbound. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you choose the target of the attack. So what really does come in handy is with Moon Dragon Keela and Sun Dragon Inti if your opponent destroys these cards, because then you'll benefit from their own effects. So having Call of the Earthbound be able to make them target those cards for the attack definitely does help with this trap for sure. And then for the remainder of the traps, I run 1 Ultimate Earthbound Immortal, just a good destruction continuous trap. If a normal summoner set Earthbound Immortal monster is on the field, you target a face-up monster on the field, destroy it. You can only use this effect of Ultimate Earthbound Immortal once per turn. So great way to handle a lot of your opponent's situational cards as well. And I also run 1 Roar of the Earthbound Immortal once per turn. If an opponent's monster declares an attack, target the attacking monster, destroy that target, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the destroyed monster's attack. You must control an Earthbound Immortal monster with attack higher than the attacking monster to activate and resolve this effect. Just both useful cards. Once again, I only run the 1-ofs because they are searchable in the deck, so when I need them for that search, the option definitely does come up and in handy. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run 2 Moon Dragon Keela for the Duskwalker play for Supay. If this card is targeted for an attack, you gain life points equal to half the attacking monster's attack. If this card on the field is destroyed, you can target 1 Sun Dragon Inti in your graveyard and special summon that target. So you can go back and forth with just both Moon Dragon Keela and Sun Dragon Inti, both being very beneficial for the special summon, and always being able to have results for your opponent, whether it's the life gain with Moon Dragon Keela or the destruction with Sun Dragon Inti. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, destroy the monster to destroy this card. If you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half that attack of that monster on the field. And once per turn during the standby phase of the next turn after this card on the field was destroyed, you can target 1 Moon Dragon Keela in your graveyard and special summon that target. So, like I said, they both work very, very well off of each other for those summons, being able to special summon back and forth on the field and then use the life point gain and the life point burn. Very, very useful for sure. And then for the level 6 synchros, I run 1 Vulcan the Divine, 1 Stardust Charge Warrior for the level 6 synchro options. If you want to put Bryonic in, you can take out one of the next level 8 synchro options, which are 1 Psyframe Lord Omega, 1 Stardust Dragon, 1 Borreload Savage Dragon, and 1 Red Dragon Archfiend. And when you can go into the Link monsters, it helps. Most of the time, you're just going for these synchro plays, but for the Links, I run 1 Link Karibo, 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Mrs. Radiant, and 1 Nightmare Cerberus to finish off the extra deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Very happy with the results of the deck. That makes 3 decks down from the Duelist pack with just the Dark Necrofear deck and the Evil Hero deck remaining. I'll definitely get to it as soon as I gather up the cards for those decks. But until then, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.